Thank you for meeting with us today.
You're welcome.
So you recently did your State of the University address.
I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I think that I prefer to let the audience judge what they thought of it, but I felt that I said the things that were really important, and I was very pleased at the turnout. The room was full, and I think a lot of people were talking about it afterwards, so couldn't hope for more.
One of the points that was brought up was that domestic enrollment growth is pretty stagnant at this moment in time, but that's the same across most campuses.
It's the demographics in Ontario. The only place the population is growing is in the GTA region, but you could have predicted this if you looked at all the demographic data. So what's happening was not unexpected.
So since what is growing is the international students, they're coming in.
Yeah.
So one question that came up for me was that the downtown campus is being commended all around for its creativity, its innovation, and bringing Windsor's core back, really. But who's going to fill the downtown campus when the majority of international students are going into engineering and business main campus programs?
Well, a couple of things. I think first of all, we have a lot of students just in our programs right now, social work and visual arts and music and so on. They'll be downtown. But I see the downtown campus in terms of international students having a great opportunity for students from the U.S. Is right beside the whole metropolitan Detroit area, Michigan, Ohio, right at the tunnel. And this year, we certainly are seeing an increase in applications from the U.S. But I think that location could be one that starts to become a place where we get more back and forth going across the border. We'll certainly be working on it, and we're beginning more efforts to recruit in the U.S. to be a part of recruitment fairs, getting into high schools, and so on. In terms of international students, it seems to me that we will eventually reach a point culturally as well, where the notion of learning about the arts and creative things in different cultural contexts is going to become important. I think it'll go beyond just engineering and business. This is down the road, but I think at some point we're going to start to break down those barriers as well. And I think where we're going to be located downtown will be a great place to do that.
Do you see an increase in international student enrollment because it is growing so rapidly, changing the university environment, bringing ideals from across the world to Windsor, impacting sort of this Western academic integrity?
Well, I guess what is the Western academic integrity? We have we certainly have a tradition, and all the universities in Canada do, a tradition based upon how the universities first started and so on. Many of the universities arose originally as a religious college that then became a public institution later on. But I think Canada has always been a country of Indigenous people and immigrants. And I don't have to go very far back in my family to point to the little villages in Russia or England where they were born. So we've continually been reimagining ourselves, and I think that right now there's a whole new wave of immigration that's happened the last probably 40 to 50 years, and it doesn't mean that we're going to change what Canada is and change what the country's about, but we are becoming more diverse. And I think the University of Windsor is a great place to see how the world is changing. And it's a great place to be and to confront your own lack of knowledge about other parts of the world.
So another thing that you introduced or addressed in your speech was activity-based budgeting. So what I understand is it will more accurately reflect where funding needs to go on campus. But another issue would be that more students, it seems to be that more students for a program needs more funding. How do you think that will impact not just who gets more funding, but administrative relationships on campus?
Well, you never wade into a process to redo how the budget works without expecting that there'll be lots of questions asked about it, and I certainly understand that. But what we do want to do, we want to base how resources are allocated, make it more of an evidence-based system, make it based upon the actual reality of where enrollment is going. Having said that, I was also very clear that we have to protect the comprehensive nature of the institution. So you have to find a balance between saying, here's where enrollment can grow, here's where there's some strengths, things we can build upon. We need to make sure that if that happens, the resources go there to support it. But at the same time, we need to find the way to also take the benefits of that growth while continuing to support where it can grow, but take the benefits of it and distribute them to places where there maybe is not as much growth going on right now. And as I said in my talk, at any one time you could be on a crest or you can be in a trough, and we have to take a long-term view of that. So we need to have a mechanism that says, okay, here's the data, this is where the enrollment is, these are the resources that are going to go to there because of it, and these are the resources that we're going to be taking because of that strength there to help other parts of the institution. And we're now going to have a mechanism to be very clear about it and open about it. And yes, if you happen to be in an area where you say, well, why, look, we're doing we have all the students now, we're doing all the great stuff, why should we subsidize the other part of the campus that isn't doing as much, let them worry about themselves? No, we can't do that. Because, as I say, at any one time, there's an old saying, there but for the grace of God go I. It's an old saying, goes back, I think, to the 1600s when there was it was said by a minister who saw someone being walked to the gallows to be hung. And the comment was, there but for God's grace go I. Anybody can find themselves having being in a bad patch. So we want to be transparent about it and say, okay, you're doing great right now, but you're going to help other people out. Because maybe 10 years from now, they're doing great, and you're going to be going to them cup in hand. It's all about transferring the cup around. But as a university, we have to take care of the whole.
And is the budgeting about how many students are enrolled in our program, or how many are taking classes in that program?
It's both. So we have a very detailed calculation on it. I couldn't begin to go into the details on it. It's about the program, but then it's adjusted for where the courses are. So you might be in an arts program, but you're taking an elective in science. Well, science should get the credit for that. So we developed a whole matrix, so we know exactly how many courses each of the faculties are providing for students who might be majoring in a different faculty, and then you can do an adjustment for that.
So you mentioned in your speech the reputation of the reputation.
Yeah.
So does that mean that you feel that you're combating or adjusting to a negative or a positive view of Windsor that already exists?
Well, I actually think we've got to a point where there's a reputation that our reputation is not very good. It's become so detached from reality. I could maybe next year I'll say the reputation about our reputation about our reputation. I think it's become so detached from what's actually happening. It's an old, stale story. Because when you walk around the campus, I meet lots of students. You don't take a backseat to anybody. You can go across every university campus in this country, and if you take 15,000 or 16,000 students at one place, chances are, statistically, they're pretty similar to 15,000 students somewhere else. Pretty similar. We're probably more diverse on our campus, more international students than many would have. But by and large, the experience is pretty similar. If you take our campus and the amount of student services we have, the library, all those things, you can go to every university in this country and find some people who'll say, it's horrible here. I think that the reputation story is so old, it has become the reputation about the reputation. It's like one of those things that gets locked in there. And what I was saying, when I say let's talk about the reputation about the reputation, let's turn the thing on its head. Let's just get everybody talking about it. Let's turn it into a joke. Let's turn it into like a point of bonding.